Trying to get a better angle. I'm gonna look fat no matter what, but whatever. How's it hanging, everybody? Trying to see how everyone is feeling post election. Election's almost over. 6 electoral votes to go. Hey Lakia, how are you? Trying to see how everyone's feeling. Lots of predictions have been made. You know, lots of predictions have been confirmed. You know, didn't get on here to be messy, but yeah, just wanted to touch on things, see what the mood is with everyone. Hello, vibes with Mama Red, pulling hair. Yeah, you know, I'm feeling content about it. You know, we have a bit of a ways to go before we have actual confirmation. Seems like it's in the bag, but you know, this was all anticipated. This, you know, if you've been watching my Instagram stories, we've been talking about this. Marin Altman has been talking about this, and she's actually really come up quite a bit. Allegedly, she's working with the Biden campaign, or will be. Congratulations to her for all her success with TikTok and whatnot. And it's very stressful. I'm watching the U.S. from the election from the outside the U.S. It's very stressful. Yeah, I can imagine, because it definitely does have a ripple effect on the rest of the world. But with that being said, you know, it is toxic positivity to be like, oh, well, you know, no matter what happens, we'll be fine. But, you know, like I told you a few weeks ago when everyone was calling me toxic positivity, everything always comes out in the wash. People were calling this election and saying, oh, well, you know, worst case scenario, oh, Trump is going to win, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. And, you know, I mean, it is pretty eye-opening how many states are red and how many people, you know, Trump supporters may not all be racist, but, you know, racism isn't a deal breaker for some Trump supporters. And like I said today, you know, on Twitter, you know, I have followers that are Republicans. I have clients that are Republicans. I have friends in the spiritual community that are Republicans. And, you know, being a Republican for me isn't a deal breaker because I can coexist. I can handle people who don't have the same ideology as me. However, you know, when it gets to a point where it draws a line into stereotypes and assumptions, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's, you know, like I said, that's where I draw the line. And that's where, you know, I have to put my foot down. But, you know, I can handle people having different perspectives on things from me. We don't all, you know, look at things the same, whether it's fiscal Republicans or people who just, you know, are about family values, so to speak. But, you all know how I feel. You know, I definitely, you know, am a champion of a woman's right to choose and all types of otherness, whether that be, you know, LGBTQ community or immigration, women's rights, etc. Yeah, absolutely. I'm perfectly okay with everyone having their, as long as they don't infringe on, you know, my beliefs, and more so kind of making a point to convert. Because I'm not looking to convert anyone on my beliefs. My beliefs are based off of my personal experience. I told someone today I've been voting and paying taxes since 2004. So my opinion, I know the power of my opinion, you know, because I've earned it. I paid taxes on my opinion. You know, I paid taxes for this black skin. Not just financially, in many ways. Hello, April, how are you? About the Amendment 1 thing being added. Yeah, you know, that was unfortunate. I definitely saw that here in North Central Louisiana. You know, however, I don't know how they worded it in New Orleans, but the way they worded it up here in Central Louisiana, you know, it was very confusing, the wordage on Amendment 1. So, because I feel like I might have voted, I know I voted no on it, but like at first I was confused when I read it, because I was like, I almost voted yes. Because it tells you in an amendment, but it's kind of like, you know, you think you're in California, where it's like, why would they have to amend anything? But anyways, Yeah, I'm very, yeah, Mississippi legalized medical marijuana. Very surprised about that, considering how conservative. But, it's baby steps. And if any state in the union, I mean, in the United States, in the United States is going to do things baby steps, it's them. They just, this country, 250, almost 250 years old, and they're just now changing their state flag. Mississippi, just changing their state flag. So, Mississippi is like, they're just coming around to like 2000, 2003 in terms of, socially and in a lot of ways. But, good for them for getting medical marijuana, essentially to see how that's going to transpire. But I have faith in my father's home state. In my grandmother and grandfather's home state. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'm not going to tell you how old I'll be, but hopefully you can't tell how old I am. Hello, India. Vara 1269. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Gia from Australia. Wow, so many international people watching this evening. Such a pleasure and a blessing to have you on tonight. Thank you so much, Sedated Jade. Hey, Miles, how are you? Yes, it is. Hello, Decrease. Thank you so much. 24, I don't wish. 24 perfection year. If I was in a 24 perfection year, well, no, I'd be in a first house perfection year. But that means I'll be coming off a 12 house perfection year. But no, I'm much older than 28. Not much older, but I'm much older than 24. Thank you, all of you who are wishing me happy birthday. I definitely appreciate it. It's an interesting Saturn return. I had a reading from Max, Astro by Max, and I posted him on my Instagram story. If you're looking for someone who does affordable, thorough readings, I wish I could remember exactly what his Instagram name is. It's complicated, so that's why I'm not going to attempt it. But just look at my Instagram story. You'll know who I'm talking about. But yeah, I just did a reading with him, and I believe it was like between like $45 and $75 or something like that. No more than like $80. But anyways, it's for an hour and a half for $80. And he does your zodiacal releasing, your solar return, your annual perfections, and just a super thorough, like and then gives you dates, elections, helps you with astrological elections. So I have a good idea of when to buy my car next. Well, not next month. Well, yeah, it is next month because it's December. Buy my car. I know what date is a great date to move on in January. Yeah, it's a natal chart reading. It's a reading on your chart. Astro by Max, I believe his name is, but I don't want to tell you to go to certain thing and then it'd be confusing. And he's super young, but he's very knowledgeable on it. So yeah, just watch my Instagram story. You'll know who I'm talking about. Love you too, beautiful Naj. Watch my Instagram story. You'll know who I'm talking about. Super affordable, an hour and a half long reading via Zoom. And yeah, he very much is thorough. I wish I had everyone thinks I'm super good at astrology. I'm decent, but I wish I had as much knowledge and wisdom in it as many other people. Like people just like Max. That's why I participate in the astrology community, but I don't really feel that I am a part of the astrology community, especially because they're very much you can't sit with us unless you earn it, unless you really participate and you go to the functions like ISAR and all that stuff that they have once a year. They had it over Zoom this year because of the COVID, but yes, my pleasure, Decrease. Yeah, she's very talented. And it's amazing. I'm so happy to see that her predictions are coming true. And in real time, even the stuff like about Melania and just the rebellion with the people in Detroit and in Nevada and places like that, or even all that stuff. Yeah, she's really, really talented. And, you know, she teaches a class, and that's actually, like, it's worth the money. It's expensive, but, you know, based off of what you get, like, because there's, like, she does it, and it's, like, these modules, right? And then she also has, like, sets time aside each week for, I think, like, for, like, 100 years or whatever, however long she's alive. She sets time, like, for, like, 3 hours a week to have, like, office hours. So it's, like, if you have any questions about any of the material in the modules, you can contact her. And also, if you join her mail letter, her newsletter, her email newsletter, she also, like, has these free seminars that she does, like, a couple times a month. And then she tells you about her class. And sometimes she has, like, discounts, sometimes she doesn't. Like, when she did do the discount, it was, like, $1,200. But, like, it's a really good deal, even though, I mean, but, like, you know, you're going to spend that money, you definitely have to be invested in it. But it's paced, it's at your own pace. So it's not like, you know, you're paying $1,200 and it's for 6 weeks, and if you miss a class, you miss a class. It's not like that. It's like, you know, this packet, and it definitely teaches you everything you need to know, and to where you'll be on her level in terms of astrology. So, you know, it's worth the money. But, you know, if you're going to invest that much, you definitely have to have the time and the energy to invest into it. But she definitely gives you, you know, your one-on-one time as well. It isn't so much that she just throws, like, you know, a CD at you and it just has all these modules on it and all these workbooks. No, it's more so kind of, I'm assuming it's that, but it's also one-on-one time with her for whatever questions. Hello, Alexis. Dominic, how are you? With that. And, you know, there's other people who have classes that, you know, are around that price or lower. You get less. But, yeah, she has really, really great information. So definitely check her out, Marin Altman, as well as Astromax or Astrobimax. Like I said, look on my Instagram story. You'll see who I'm talking about. Or even Hey Hood Healer 117. Or even on my my Twitter account. You'll see. I did a prediction on this election. If you watch Conspiracy Castle with Alex Stein on YouTube, you'll see that I even pulled cards on this election. And you know, the part of it, like, I'm happy based off of, you know, considering where things are going. I'm content with where things are going with this election for the American people and to restore dignity towards the Oval Office, towards the presidency. However, I'm also relieved because, you know, it would be a huge blow if I'm on record giving that prediction and it ends up being fugazi. So I'm well, Ada Mama. No, Ada Lil Llama. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Yeah, definitely check it out. Hey, Yessie, how are you? Your big forehead. But yeah, no, I didn't want to be on record on his show giving a fugazi prediction about the election. So most of my situation is me being relieved that so far so good. Because, you know, I was like, you know, scratching and screaming. He asked me to do it, and I was like, oh, no, I don't do that. But I was like, fine, since I'm on the show, I might as well do it. So thank you so much. What else is going on? Any questions for me tonight? I was going to get up and take pictures of the beautiful color of my Dr. Bronner spiritual bath that I make, since it's such a wonderful herbaceous green, but I feel like I've already posted that, and it would just be weird to do that. So it's like, no, people don't need to see that. It's like, you come up with better content than posting your herb bath that you made from your Dr. Bronner's. I need a haircut. Really, I posted him today. I'll post him again then. But he should be there. I'll post him again on my story since you guys can't find it. Yeah, because so far it's some predictions that were wildly wrong, but we still have time to see. Yeah. And that's what I was concerned with. I look up to people who have made predictions on this election. It's really brave, especially to put, with, those of us that have a larger platform to put our situation online, especially since, so much of what we do is based off of divination and prediction. So, I definitely hats off to those that have made predictions about this election. I was super apprehensive and I caved in and did so. And I'm very fortunate that so far so good. But, the night is still young. We still have up until January 21st, till Inauguration Day, to really actually say yes or no. So a lot can happen in between it. But so far so good, and so far, everything is playing out as it will. We have these eclipses at the end of this month, and at the end of December-ish, we have these gnarly eclipses that are happening. I don't know who Desert Tavares is. We have these eclipses at the end of this month and the end of December, and there's going to be a whole lot of anarchy in between then. I feel like, a potato head. Do I look like Mr. Potato Head? I haven't seen Boots Terrell's prediction. I've only seen a snippet of what they were saying in terms of be spiritually prepared and whatnot, but I do I feel like I do. No, but I've only seen only some of it. No, I'm laughing about the potato head situation, not because of Boots Terrell. But no, I've only seen broke the record over Obama. Yeah, well, that's good, even though we're still kind of in the thick of all this mess, all this nonsense. I pulled 9 of Wands, but we shall see interesting time. We are in lots of energies. What is your definition of 9 of Wands? Because I feel like many people have different definitions. For me, it's more so looking back at the past and more so using the lessons of the past to move you forward towards the future. And it's also more so kind of carrying burdens from the past, or kind of like carrying chores and burdens uphill, but taking those lessons and using those lessons for a good cause. At least that's how I look at 9 of Wands. Teddy bear vibes. I don't know. I don't like when people say that. I mean, I don't mind that you say that, but I don't know. I feel weird but more so when I get compared to a teddy bear. I don't know why. Makes me think of Ruben Studdard. And it's I don't feel like I'm that big. Georgia will be interesting. It sure will. He said Trump and Biden will die. Kamala will end up running the country. Oh, yeah, well, I don't know if they'll both die. But yeah, no, I definitely see Kamala running the country for quite some time. Like Marin said, she has her zodiacal releasing looking really positive for the next 10 years. It's, ultimately the best peak period of her life. And now that I'm starting to understand zodiacal releasing and peak periods, I'm excited for 42. I'm excited for this next year, but definitely, 42 and up is definitely, my uphill. I can't wait for that. But I got some time before I get there. And knock on wood, hopefully, I live to be way past that. What would cause Trump and Biden's death? Well, okay, so the interesting thing about that is, anytime Saturn and Jupiter make a conjunction, even though it's typically, in the past, it's more times than not, it's been typically when Saturn and Jupiter were both in Earth signs. When the president, however, Astro Biden saw that it was, what does she say? anytime after an election or something like that. I don't know. You have to watch it. But anyway, she did a long expose on, and that's no shade, but she did a long expose on like the presidential deaths of Saturn and Jupiter. But anyways, with Donald Trump, he has Capricorn in the 6th house, I think, and not saying that all Leo risings will die, but Leo risings this past year with the Saturn Jupiter conjunctions and Pluto, having been there since 2008, and with the Saturn and Jupiter conjunctions happening in Capricorn this past year, the Leo risings that I do know have definitely gone through a major overhaul in terms of their health situation. Like my brother, he lost a whole grip of weight. And a couple other people I know who are Leo rising have definitely made some changes in regards to their eating habits and health habits and all kind of stuff. But based off of, Donald Trump's age and some other factors, clearly the man hasn't lost weight. Clearly the man isn't eating right. So, it would only have some kind of adverse effect in terms of his health. So he's very much kind of in the closet about his health. Obviously, Americans, we never really know about what presidents are going through health-wise till way after the fact. I believe it was like Woodrow Wilson. Like we didn't know he couldn't walk or stand up till like, the 50s or 60s or something like that. Like that wasn't common knowledge till way after the man died. And some other shit that happened. And then with Joe Biden, even though he's older, so was Ronald Reagan, even though they say Ronald Reagan was going through dementia and Alzheimer's during the late 80s, his second term. Hello, ancestral herbiary. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, hello, ancestral herbiary. But yeah, Ronald Reagan was going through dementia towards the end of the late 80s, his second term. So, more than likely, I feel like Kamala will definitely, even though I know a lot of people don't, feature Kamala, I have, a couple of my theories as to why. I don't have a problem with her. My thing is, the whole mass incarceration thing. My issue with her in terms of being Attorney General of California, my issue with her was more so kind of her rulings on not being against police officers having body cameras. That's my issue. If there's people that are committing crimes, put them in jail. And, for her to be the first black Attorney General and black woman Attorney General, she had to be the one cracking the whip, because, then they would have immediately, she wouldn't be in the position she would be today in terms of becoming vice president if she was, for black or lenient, we'll say, and she wasn't cracking the whip. I feel like with anything, any first black anything, they very much have to be an example that isn't so much serving of other black people. And it's unfortunate, but that's how society has made it out to be. Whether it's whether you're Barack Obama, whether you're Jackie Robinson or Meghan Markle, anytime you're the first black anything, it's never easy, and you for damn sure can't please everyone, and you definitely have to be the one who cracks the whip, and a shining example and a spotless example. And in her case, of her being Attorney General of California, like I said, my only qualm with her was, the police and the body cameras. I don't know too much else about, aimlessly throwing men of color in jail. But, like I said, my only issue with her that I know of is that particular situation. But, I do have a lot of faith and a lot of optimism based off of the harsh criticism she got from, whether it was Tulsi Gabbard during the primaries or, all the talk shows that she had gone on and all the harsh criticism that she received from the black community specifically during the campaign. I really feel like she will definitely, shape up and fly right in regards to her relationship with the black community. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I definitely feel like she had to do what she had to do and crack the whip. And it was really hard to say. It's not easy decisions. Like I said, anytime you're the first black anything, whether you're, and a lot of people say, oh, well, and with Barack Obama in that video of him in Flint, I didn't even watch the whole video because I don't want to make a comment on it till I know it's not a doctor video. But my thing is, I feel like that video of him in Flint in the glass of water is unfortunate. I didn't watch the whole thing. Yeah, I definitely hope they put Bernie Sanders in the cabinet. They have to, absolutely. Because, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez was definitely saying, it's like, if that homeless man on the corner, if his life isn't different within the next 4 years, then there's going to be another Donald Trump who's smarter, who's younger, and who's more charismatic, and who's even harder to beat than the one we're dealing with now. So, they definitely have the work cut out for them in terms of the Democratic Party, and that's for damn sure. Be in the correct facility. I don't know too much about the whole trans situation. I know when I got arrested in Los Angeles, and since she was the Attorney General of California, I can only imagine that Los Angeles was part of that. But I know the one time I did get arrested, they asked me certain things that we'll just say certain requirements that I needed based off my situation, and they were accommodating based off of that. And the only reason why I was arrested because I didn't pay a public defender like 6 years prior, and I had a warrant. But still, like, there was a certain questionnaire. I don't know how long ago that was, but I mean, I know she wasn't like Attorney General in the 80s or nothing. No, all skin folk ain't kid folk. Just like that chick in Maryland that didn't win. What's her name? I can't think of her name, but she was a Republican too. And, like I said, just because you're a black Republican doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means, like, oftentimes your interests don't necessarily match the interest of others. Just like Michael Steele, who was the former Republican Party chair or something like that. He was like head of the Republican Party when Barack Obama was president. But Michael Steele, he changed his ways. What's his name? Kerry Washington's cousin, Colin Powell. Yeah, he's a Republican too. And he figures it out every now and then. He knows, when to fall in line and what to fall in line about. Condoleezza Rice, she definitely, she doesn't always get it together. But like I said, just because you're a black Republican doesn't always mean. Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't want to comment. Like, I felt like that Barack Obama video in Flint could have easily been doctored, because it's just like the way that they cut to certain people and cut to certain things. Like, I didn't want to, be up here making a statement or thinking negatively of the man based off a doctored video. Republicans aren't the same breed anymore. Yeah, the GOP is something else now. The Republicans were organized when Bush was president. They were organized, and at least like they weren't as overtly I wouldn't say racist. We'll just say prejudice, and willing to accept nonsense in the name of prejudice and racism, all for votes and whatnot. Big on deep fake videos now. Yeah, that's what I was really concerned about in terms of that Barack Obama video. Corporate fascists. I don't know what that is in reference to. What else is going on? What else do you guys want to talk about? I'm disappointed in the southern states with their slave mentality. I wouldn't say all that. You know, there's definitely some parts of the South that definitely, you know, operate in people's best interests. But, you know, and, you know, a lot of people that live here in the South definitely are stuck in the older days, like I said, the beginning, you know, in terms of Mississippi. But, you know, you can't convert everyone, or you can't convince everyone, rather. Trying to think of that chick's name who didn't win in Maryland last night, who is super Republican. She's young. Not Candace Owen, obviously, because Candace Owen wasn't running, but she was like this other chick who was like this young black girl. She was like gnarly Republican. Are we going to win? My hair is long, yeah. I've been meaning to shave it off. I've been wanting to go to an actual barbershop just because, you know, you never know here in Louisiana. You know, who's wearing a mask and who's not. Yeah, I thought Texas was... Yeah, I feel so bad about MJ. I wanted MJ to win that Senate seat. And also, Lindsey Graham still won in South Carolina. Like, that's messed up. It's like, y'all really don't care. Texas was close, yeah. Twist my hair. I don't know if it's long enough. You probably could. I used to have really, really long hair when I was in middle school and going into high school. When I was a freshman in high school. I used to have long, long hair. Georgia Deep South. Yeah, that's where one of my Venus lines is in Atlanta, as well as West Dallas, where I plan to move at the beginning of the year. If, you know, I can handle it. That's one of the things that Astro by Max was talking about, because I have Cancer in the first house in my solar return chart, and in the 8th house. So you're talking about how I'd be living closer to my mother, more so sharing things with my mother more in this upcoming year in my solar return. No, I didn't have dreads. I had cornrows and afro, and sometimes a ponytail. And it was like to the bottom of my chest. It went all the way down. Because, you know, everybody was trying to be Ludacris, or who else? Who had long hair back in those days? Just, you know, just people was just trying to have long hair. How far do you think these Trump people are going to take their uprising? Probably till they all, you know, get sick and, you know, end up in the hospital. I feel like it'll just go up until, like, Thanksgiving, really. Or a little after Thanksgiving, if at all. I feel like it won't. Because people got stuff to do. People got the holidays. Like, ain't nobody trying to deal with all that. I've seen plenty of Mexicans with dreadlocks. But yeah, I feel like a little after Thanksgiving is when all this outrage will kind of subside. Then we have the eclipses. And then we have to get ready for the inauguration. And then we can, you know, I wouldn't say we can all chill, but we can at least, like, you know, relax somewhat. I mean, we have the Mars square in Taurus, which will be squaring Saturn and Jupiter for, you know, the beginning of the year, for at least the rest of winter. Up and through, I think it's up and through April, May sometime. And then, you know, what we have to look forward to is, you know, Jupiter going into Pisces, which will be a bit of a revelation. Jupiter will be at home in Pisces, which will give us a little bit of a breather between May and July. So, well, at least we'll have some peace in the valley. And then, 2022 will be real mellow in comparison, which we'll need, because 2020 is just, no other year in our lifetime will be as hard as this year. Luckily, not in our lifetime, unless you live to be 150 or something. But no other year. What about the stimulus check? So yeah, on Alex Stein's show on Conspiracy Castle, I pulled, like, once the president was announced, I definitely did pull that there was a woman, more than likely Nancy Pelosi, would definitely rush and push towards some kind of stimulus, some type of financial situation that definitely alleviates the country and alleviates the rest of the world. That's for damn sure. But I also pulled that there was, like, a lot of rush stuff. Like, soon as the new or the administration gets in place, there was a whole lot of quick fixes and band-aids being put on war wounds, to where it's like a lot of stuff that's been unraveled and undone definitely needs patience and attention to detail. But what I pulled, it definitely came across as that not being the case. Being violent to minorities and everything. They're also training like they're in the army in case Trump loses. Yeah, and a lot of that is, tough talk and on their part, rather, and very much kind of, anytime you're insecure, I really feel like the reason why, Southern Caucasian people, or, people that are conservative, rather, are so pro-gun is because, this country and slavery and, the Europeans conquering the New World wouldn't be what it was had it not been for guns and gunpowder, because, people from Africa, they could have fought with bow and arrow, but it's like, guns can take people out. So it's like people kind of use guns as their security blanket. And, it's been socially, these people's security blankets for, 400 years, these guns. So that's why they hold on to them so tightly. Well, a certain race will say, holds on to them so tightly. All races, Mexican, Black, Asian people, we're all gun people. But, we all are capable of having guns. But, our cultures, our communities aren't like, oh, nothing separates me from my gun. And, maybe on rap songs and shit like that. But, our cultures aren't, die hard about that. But had it not been for guns and gunpowder, society, the New World, America wouldn't be what it was. Slave trade wouldn't be what it was had it not been for guns. That's part of my theory as to why people make, the Asian race the model minority, as it's called, because, gunpowder comes from that part of the world. At least that's my theory. If you know about the model minority theory. Huntsville, so I'm sure the Klan is Coleman is organizing. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been through Alabama. I've never really been to Alabama. I've been meaning to watch that show that people talk about, that Love and Marriage or whatever, because I always see something about it on YouTube. But God bless you, KPF. Thank you so much. It's crap. Huntsville. That's one more hours maybe from Coleman. Yeah, I always hear about that show, but I've never watched it. Montgomery. Yeah, I don't know. Here in Louisiana, it's not as severe. Well, even though, I haven't really been out the house like that since yesterday. I went to the gym, but that's it. But, I can't really say that, the Klan in Louisiana is just But I doubt. I honestly, intuitively, I don't feel like it'll really get to that severe. I mean, yeah, people, I'm sure like one or two things will get a little crazy. And maybe there will maybe be one death, but unfortunate race-related death. But I don't feel like it'll, be as bad as it was during the summer eclipse season. Yeah, we have the winter eclipse season that's mirroring the summer eclipse season that we went through. That was hella scary. That was had everyone on edge every night. But I don't feel like, intuitively, I don't think it'll get crazy. At least I hope not. But intuitively, I don't feel it will. Lafayette for 8 years. I miss Louisiana. Yeah, I'm on the fence about Louisiana. I mean, like I said, I had my experience in New Orleans where I was super in love with it when I first got there. And then I looked and, hey, Black Sea Siren. And then I woke up one day and the electricity was out. And noticed that everyone was sitting in the dark and in the heat in New Orleans except for the French Quarter. And I was like, this class warfare isn't going to work. Like, I can't, even just a small portion of this, even a couple of days of this is unacceptable, because New Orleans has hurricanes several times a year. And for them to have such a lack of preparation for something that happens so frequently is unacceptable. The Saturn-Jupiter conjunction happens on December 21st. So yeah, if you are looking to plant seeds of something, let's say a business, between 9 a.m. Eastern on December 21st, it definitely would be the most auspicious time for you to plant that seed. Because, if you've had a reading with me, I've explained this to where it's like I use a good example of Queen Elizabeth, how she was born during a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, and how she's Britain's longest reigning monarch. Actually, the world's longest reigning monarch. Yeah, Marin posted about it as well. 9:17 a.m. on December 21st. So yeah, Queen Elizabeth is she's been dependable. She's been lucrative for the royal family. She's modernized the royal family in Britain, whereas, most of the monarchies in Britain haven't lasted. She's been the one that's allowed it to last based off of her skill of modernizing the monarchy. So it's kind of like, if you want to launch a business, it'll definitely be similar to, at least energetically, Queen Elizabeth will say. Just keeping it modern, since it has that energy of Aquarius. It's more so modernizing it. Whatever it is that you plan to launch on December 21st. And I'll be posting this on YouTube, so if you missed some of it, or if you got better things to do, just watch it on YouTube. I'll also be answering questions and talking my yaya. I had to come on tonight and address the people and catch the tone of everyone, how everyone is handling this long, drawn-out election that the astrology community predicted was going to be, most of predicted was going to end up this way. I feel like there is, at least lately, there's this energy to where it's like people think that I diss the Leo King, which isn't true. I've always been a fan of his, even through all, the conservative rhetoric. And he's not even a staunch conservative, at least not from what I've seen and heard from him. He just, there's people that are from Los Angeles and there's people from that are Newport. And he just reminds me of anyone from Newport Beach that has those conservative viewpoints, or whether you're conservative from Fresno or Pismo Beach or any other, coastal conservative community, they all kind of think like that. And it's like, oh, well, in Newport, it's still multicultural. Yeah, but it's like, you know, a lot of those people that are from otherness, we'll say from black people that live in Newport, Asian people that live in Newport, are more so kind of, they convert to the mindset of being conservative to acclimate in those communities. Many Nigerians live in Orange County, Irvine, and specifically in Newport, and you know, they coach their sons not just to play sports, but to, you know, marry, you know, the young white women, so to speak. And I know because, like I said, I'm from there for one. Well, I'm from Redondo Beach, but I grew up with a lot of people that, you know, lived in Newport, South Bay, Seal Beach, Laguna, and even past that, I worked at Bottega Veneta in Beverly Hills, and we would just see those types all the time. But they would very much coach their first generations to acclimate into Orange County society and culture by doing so. Slick, racist, and classist remarks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't know him personally. I've always liked his content. I like what he's built for himself, and I definitely, you know, admire his car collection. That's for damn sure. But, you know, just the rhetoric is a turnoff. And we're right about her. You also interested in Marin, who's awesome. I think you're a good judge of character and call it right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, I get into it with these people every now and then, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. People, you know, definitely reveal themselves. There's people who feel that I've revealed myself. You know, I feel like I've constantly stayed consistent. If I don't like something, I don't like something. I don't, you know, sugarcoat things. But it is what it is. Yeah, beautiful gowns, for sure. Yeah, it is what it is. Just reading what you guys are writing. You know, I don't know what that young lady has been saying to her followers lately, so you guys would have to enlighten me. I haven't really... Luckily, no one's been inboxing me about the shenanigans. Last I heard, she was telling people not to get master's degrees or wear masks. And, you know, which isn't surprising, but, you know, that's the last I heard. Because people usually inbox me, tell me, oh, did you see what she said today? And I was like, oh, no, I don't follow her. Leo ass got people riled up yesterday, but his 5-hour YouTube going through astrology and even how that's loosening up the bonds was crazy good, though. I'll give him that. Yeah, I wanted to watch that 5-hour video, and I meant to finish the whole thing. Luckily, in the comments, they tell you, like, oh, if you want to see Trump, go to, you know, 1 hour, 44 minutes. If you want to see Biden, go to 42 minutes and 23 seconds. If you want to had that whole thing. Luckily, they had that in the comments so you could skip through, you know, all the this and that. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. But anyway. Oh, Lord. Yeah, no, I'm glad they timestamp. I'm not. I'm just reading the comments. But anyway. But anyway, no, definitely wear your mask. If not for you, then for other people, you know. And part of the reason why I've been so pro-mask is, you know, my parents are immune compromised. And on top of that, it's like when this virus first started, people were very generous with explaining how they don't like to wash their hands. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but Adrienne Bailon, she she pounded her hand on the desk and and announced, "I don't always wash my hands when I leave the bathroom." Remember on that show? She was like, I don't always wash my hands when I leave the bathroom when I'm at home. And it's like people couldn't wait to declare how nasty they are and how crazy their hygiene is. So it's kind of like, now that we're all on the same page about being hygienic and not, being so close to each other, let's keep it up. Let's keep it this way. Stay out my face. I don't want you spitting in my face. People couldn't wait to talk about how they don't like washing their hands, or how they don't wash their hands in public bathrooms all the time. I worked at the airport, so people were very much about washing their hands before this whole virus started going around. Men didn't even shake hands; they would just fist bump. Anytime you saw your fellow coworker that you used to want to say hello to, they wouldn't. They would never shake hands at the airport. They would just fist bump. But like I said, people couldn't wait to declare how little they practice hygiene. So I feel like now they're on this streak of washing hands regularly, 20 seconds, and wearing masks. Let's keep it up. Let's not stop. I have no problem maintaining that. So that's why I'm very pro-mask. If not for you, for everybody else. Because not everybody don't like washing their hands. Or even bathing every day. Way before COVID, absolutely. And then once COVID started, people couldn't wait to tell you what they don't like doing. And how little they do it. So now that we're all on the same page, let's stop that. Let's keep it up. And maintain that momentum. That's why, these people that tell you not to wear masks, no, I'm not with that. Because it all starts with them masks. Wash your hands, wash your body, put on a mask. Let's maintain, this 6 feet rule and keep it that way. Disciplined as a child. I don't know. Everyone isn't being raised the same. Everyone, don't wash their house or clean their house the same. So, it's all debatable. It's been proven that it helps. Absolutely. It's like, why is that such a big issue for people to wear masks? It's not like you can't breathe at all. And even if you can, it isn't super permanent. And let's just keep love you too, cousin. Let's just keep the momentum of people, being hygienic. People can't even keep 6 feet away. Absolutely, they sure can't. Or clean their food, yeah. Or they'll just throw the raw chicken in the sink with no bowl. If they even wash the chicken, or if they even wash the food. 15-minute grocery run, absolutely. Why do you think Trump goes so hard against the masks? Because he wants to be the one who enforces what people do and what people don't do. And, that's a part of his platform, being the king. That's why, a lot of people predicted him winning that last election, is because, he was having that noble return. He was having that noble return. And, Leo North Node is all about, being the king. All those eclipses that were happening while the North Node was in Leo, that was all about having an emperor-like energy over the universe. And he was leader of the free world at the time. Salmonella, absolutely. Yeah, it ain't just COVID out there. It ain't just COVID. And it's like people so anti, hygiene or washing their hands. Like I said, that Adrienne Bailon, and I'm sure she's a nice girl. I'm sure she washes her hands now. But it's like she stood up at that table and was like, I don't always wash my hands when I use the bathroom at home. It's like, oh, okay. Benny Rose, what is your question? I'm feeling well, Rabina. Thank you for asking. For the pandemic. Yeah, it is sad that they have to tell people that. I already wash my hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and didn't touch eyes and face when out and about. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I know. And I wish people were more like that. Protest and hygiene. Yeah, I don't get it. Pink eye. I've never had pink eye, thank God. I'm terrified to have that. I only found out about pink eye when watching Knocked Up. That was the first time I'd ever heard of anything like that. Phones are, I can't. Eclipses in December in Gemini and Sag. Well, yeah, the eclipses are tied to the north and the south node, and depending on where they sit in your natal chart in your houses is how they will aspect and affect you for that 6-month period, the following 6-month period to up to a year long period. You know, the eclipses are activations because it's when the sun blocks out the moon or the moon blocks out the sun if it's a lunar eclipse. So with the solar eclipse, it's kind of like the new ruler or the new king gets put in place. And with the lunar eclipse, it's when, you know, the town, well, metaphorically, we'll just say the townspeople overthrow the king or overthrow the emperor. So it's kind of like a new rule gets undone and another one gets put in place. Whereas with the solar eclipse, depending on where it fits in your life or sits in your natal chart, it's kind of like a new rule, a new law gets implemented. As to where lunar eclipse, an old law gets taken out and a new one over the next 6-month period gets put in. Good example, the solar eclipse in 2019, wasn't it? Yeah, 2019, that happened in Cancer, July of 2019 happened in Cancer. My LLC for my business got approved, like literally the day of. And that happened in my 8th house of taxes, government, money, business, LLC, we'll just say. And it literally happened in my 8th house on the day of an eclipse. Not exactly at the minute, but on the day of an eclipse. And that was more so kind of a new rule, a new law getting put in place in regards to how I make money, how I protect my money, my assets, my shared resources, things of that nature. So thoughtful, like 100% can't read everything and shouldn't have to, but a slight moment of letting us feel seen. So appreciate it. I didn't see your question. Oh, can you speak about the crossroads, man? Any books that I can read up? I got a reading from the Ehime, whom I love. Said something about crossroads spirit being strong with me. You'd have to ask her about that. But in terms of, you know, the crossroads, man, you know, a good example is Robert Johnson, the blues singer who went to the crossroads and made a deal with the man at the crossroads to become a really great guitar player. Oftentimes at the crossroads, you would leave an offering or you get rid of a floor wash or your bath water or some kind of incantation or spell that you had done, paper in your shoe or whatnot. Whatever, you would get rid of it at a crossroads, and more so that would separate the spirit from what it is that you are or had attempted to do or were attempting or are attempting to do. Or at the crossroads, more so kind of you do a spell there particularly, but I don't know what exactly Ehime told you in regards to your crossroads spirits that are with you. But yeah, you'd have to ask her. I don't know if she was trying to say that you work with, and I don't even want to say the name because I don't want to get the wrong one, so never mind. But yeah, you'd have to ask her. Oh, my pleasure, Pretty J. Mills. Solar eclipse weeks ago. I had a dream the night before the eclipse that I was the night before election, that I was being hunted by a militia, and like I woke up the moment that this Colombian gang found me and shot me. Like soon as they shot me, I woke up. And I think that was the last memorable dream that I had, the night before last. Financial astrology. Here's a good one. Hold on. Hold on. So, this is a really good book too if you want to learn about the houses. But in terms of financial astrology, even though this is more of a Vedic book, and you know how Vedic folks are, but this is more of a Vedic book. But I mean, you could still apply it towards tropical astrology. Look at my little dirty one. But tropical astrology. But yeah, Encyclopedia of Vedic Astrology, Wealth and Prosperity. It's a really good book, and it tells you more so kind of all the combinations of wealth in someone's chart. Good example, Britney Spears, Cajun Queen, Kentwood, Louisiana Queen, born December 2nd, 1981, talks about balance of her dasha, whatever the heck that means, but I'm sure it goes into further explanation. Like, let's see. I was reading in something in here before. Placement of the second lord, which is, let's say the ruler of your second house is Jupiter, but you don't have Jupiter in the second house. But let's say you have Sagittarius in the second house. So the lord of your second house is in your ninth house, and so if you have Sagittarius in the second, that means that you would have Gemini in the eighth, which would give you Cancer in the ninth. So that means you'd have Jupiter and Cancer in the ninth house. So with this one, placement of the second in ninth house gives the native wealth and prosperity through inheritance. Native spends money in religious deeds and charitable purposes. Native loves to spend in helping others. Native is blessed with wealth, prosperity, good fortune, leading, happiness, comforts in life. So the ninth house is associated with travel that we know of. It can be associated with money and blessings. But definitely associated with people from different backgrounds overseas, like it says right here, overseas ventures, because it's definitely associated with long-distance travel, foreign places, and countries. I'm not too sure on the whole father thing situation, how that correlates, but, you get the point. But yeah, this book right here is a good book. It's a rarity, but it's a goodie. But there's other ones. If you look in, go to the Amazon storefront, and under the label where it says astrology, it tells you all that. I mean, I give you all the book suggestions that I have. Time periods of the planets like transit, but some last for years. Okay. Took that as a sign that I'm on the right path. Spirituality. Yeah, I would say so too. Do I take notes as I read? When I read for people? No, I don't take notes. They take notes sometimes, but I don't take notes on the person. Well, yeah, no, Vedic, but when I say that, when I say how Vedic folks are, I really mean sidereal people. You know how sidereal people are. Sidereal people think that they're Vedic, but Vedic and sidereal are actually two different things. Because Vedic is more so a spiritual, religious practice, whereas sidereal is more so kind of just a different zodiac. Where's the next 777 show? Good question. I did talk to Tiffany the day before yesterday, and I told her that once I get more situated with these readings that I got to catch up on, and election anxiety, then I'll definitely feel a lot more content with doing more show. Give me 1 second. Let me get back into bed. All right. So someone asked, what is hygeine used for? So hygeine is it's a root of the morning glory flower that people of color, specifically black people who are descendants of slaves, keep on their person after it's been dressed as a means of good luck, of power, of stamina. It's kind of like Popeye and his can of spinach. It gives them power, or gives us power rather. I'm just reading your comments. 78 Degrees. That tarot book is a good book about tarot. But no, it gives black people power. And it's a root. Hygeine the Conqueror root. Have you had anything in Appalachian magic witchcraft? What those ancestors are from? So I've been looking into it. Good question. I know there's a chick on TikTok that talks about that a lot. She's like this older lady. I forget what her name was. There are some books on Appalachian witchcraft. Absolutely. I can't think of them, but I'm sure I have some in the Amazon storefront. There's a lot of books on like people who are Melungeon, who are from the Blue Mountains. Like I know George Clooney, he's Appalachian Melungeon. But yeah, there are some that are talk about that. I feel like books from Catherine Ironwood are more so kind of Appalachian, granny magic, etc. Not all black people come from slaves. Absolutely, no, they don't. But the story of hygeine is more so associated with the slave trade, especially, if you look at, my page, I talk about the anecdote from Frederick Douglass and what she writes in his book about how a fellow slave rather, had gave him that hygeine root, and he was able to find his way towards freedom when he needed it, as well as the story of hygeine being a prince who was enslaved, and he kept that root on him, and he also was able to outsmart his master by having that root on him. The story goes is that, at least the story I know, the story I was told, was more so hygeine was a slave who was a psychic, who was a seer, but like he had a master at the time that took him to another master that was, I guess, supposed to sell him to another one or whatnot. But the master told him, it was like, if you're really psychic, tell me what's under this this pan, and I'll let you go free. And I guess hygeine was able to correctly guess it, especially since he had that root on him, hygeine the Conqueror root, and he was able to grant himself freedom and go to freedom. Yes, white passing black people, yes. George Clooney is a Melungeon. Using hygeine for the first time, if you're going to a job interview or going on a first date, really good for first impressions. It's kind of like having Jupiter in your left pocket. Great for first impressions. Do I know any books about the crossroads? Not specifically about the crossroads. There are some good books about root work, but they're not specifically about the crossroads. But not specifically about the crossroads, no. I've read books with anecdotes about them, but not specifically about crossroads spirits that Hemi was referring to. But like I said, you should really consult her more intently about what she meant in terms of that. Be careful using it. Yeah, I don't know too much about what they were meaning in regards to be careful with using Hygeine the Conqueror. I use whole sign houses. How whole sign houses make much more sense of what you're trying to do. Who told you to be careful with using Hygeine? Someone on Facebook? Well, yeah, you don't consume Hygeine. Absolutely not. But in terms of, being careful with it, I'm curious what they were referring to. Yeah, if you're interested in sidereal, definitely pursue it. If you feel that it's more accurate, definitely go for it. Most people, including myself, I like tropical, not just because, I'm diehard wanting to be a Scorpio, but I just feel like I just resonate more with that energy. Even though I'm a Scorpio rising in sidereal, I feel like I resonate more on a solar level, we'll say, being a Scorpio, as opposed to any incarnation of being a Libra. Yeah, that book I just showed you guys about the houses is all about whole sign houses. No, not necessarily. Person asked if you found Hygeine in essential oil form, would it lessen its potency? No, it would just be a Hygeine oil. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with what they were saying would be the cause of concern or harm in terms of having a Hygeine root. Consuming it, yeah, I can imagine, but I can't imagine, a cursed Hygeine conqueror root or anything like that. Any advice on having multiple empty houses? You look to where the ruler of that empty house is. So it's like if you have an empty third house and it's in Cancer, then you look to where the moon is in another house, and then you would build the story off of that. So let's say that you have Cancer in the third house, which would give you Capricorn in the ninth house, and let's say you had moon in Capricorn, so that would mean that what am I talking about? Oh yeah, so that would mean that the ruler of your third house, how you communicate, is in your ninth house, which is more so kind of changeable, or what's the word I'm looking for? Give me a little tongue twister. More so fluctuations based off of your connections with people from different backgrounds, or more so travel. It's kind of like your short-term travel is often associated with your long-term travel, and there's very much a connection towards, especially on a maternal level, we'll say, and a fluctuating level, but more so on a maternal level in regards to people from different countries. Or it's like you may feel like you can identify with people, and with this example, you may feel like you can identify with people, mostly women or maternal figures that are from different cultures, and it's like you've learned a lot of great things from maternal figures that are from different racial or cultural backgrounds, and you're able to communicate much better or clearer or more effectively based off of the things that you've learned, because ninth house is associated with teachers as well, based off of the things that you've learned from that combination. As well as, you're going to have houses that square that empty house. You're going to have houses that trine that empty house. You're going to have degrees in some of these houses and planets that will conjunct that empty house. So, just because you have the empty house doesn't mean there's nothing that goes on there. Florida water is used for cleansing. It's used for mostly cleansing and blessing, and as an offering, as sometimes and mostly it's like you use it. I put it on after the shower. Typically it's used, for people who aren't spiritual, as an aftershave. But you add it to spiritual baths and use it for cleansing, floor washes to bless, your vehicle and whatnot. And, it smells good, even though it isn't a fragrance that lasts super long. It's more so kind of something you keep on you. It has more of a cinnamon bay rum fragrance, but it's more so something that you keep on you to bless things. Cleansing and protection, absolutely. My pleasure decrees. God bless you, everything a ritual. I haven't seen you on here in a minute. Good to see you. I just kept my first glass bottle of moon water. Yeah, I still have some of my Hurricane Laura water up there. I wanted to get water from Hurricane Zeta. But I was like, no, I was in such a bad mood from all the electricity and being off in New Orleans. I was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with none of that. Moldavite, I'm scared to get it. I heard so many stories. I haven't heard any stories about Moldavite. I'm sure someone has sent me Moldavite one of these times. Pretty sure I have it somewhere. Oh, God bless you, Brock. Using the phone, you said. Still, I was gonna buy an iPhone now that I actually can afford it, but I'm so attached to this. I'm a true through and through fixed science where it's like once I like something and have it, I keep it for a long, long time and don't change anything about it. Hey, Yessie, good to see you back. I did have every other worldly dreams the day I bought it home. Yeah, I'm going to have to see what you guys are talking about in terms of Moldavite. I like Malachite a lot, even though you can't get it wet. But I love Malachite. Hello, Ink and Locks 24. Shook my energy a bit, but it's a focal point in all my meditations, and it often helps me focus my dreams. Moldavite. I don't even know why I brought up Malachite, but it's similar in name, but it has nothing to do with Moldavite. But yeah, I love my Malachite. All my Malachite pieces. I want to buy more. I'm doing well. Ink and Locks 24. Me too, it makes my heart dance. Well, Cosmic Insights is saying that we're currently in Saturn hour. We're currently in Saturn hour. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. This will be on YouTube. Psalm 109 is a treasure. Yeah, it absolutely is. And it looks like it did the damn thing. Thank you all of you who said it. Hopefully, it'll still ring true. Hopefully it'll still work. Looks like it will. Looks like it is working. And, certain people were removed from office. Definitely use Psalm 109 when you can. Great hex if you're looking to remove someone in office. If you got a pesky boss, take the wax of a candle and a picture of your boss and place it on the face side of a mirror and drop it from a tall distance after you've read Psalm 109 to it, and they will be removed from office. But with that being said, Spirit must not want me to tell you that because it dried my throat when I said that. But anyway, with that being said, thank you for watching. This will be on YouTube. And talk to you soon.